is up, you guys? It's me, your girl, you Casey. How you doing? So I'm sure I don't have to tell you guys that music and songs have an important part in the creative process, especially if you're an author. Don't tell me you do not choreograph your fight scenes to some dang bangers out there. Am I the only one who makes a playlist for their characters, for their books, for their imaginary worlds? I refuse to believe that I am, and I know I'm not. So that's why I love to offer people music suggestions. Classical music people can just write to no matter what ambiance they're looking for because it's just so chill. It gets the creative juices flowing. I love listening to musicals because writing to me is very three-dimensional. Like, you have to make these characters come off the page. You have to make us feel what they feel. But to me, musicals like Broadway's, that's like a whole four-dimensional thing. Because not only do you have to make us love these characters, give those characters character, you have to make the songs dang catchy too, which is a whole new element. There are songs out there that just seem like perfectly describe what your character is going through at any moment. But is there songs out there for the writers? Are there songs that motivate you explicitly? I have found my favorite song that, instead of targeting my characters, targets me and really shows how for the longest time I was stuck in this mindset. This is probably one of my favorite songs from my favorite band, and it's all about the creative process and writer's block. And that's gonna be Pet Cheetah by 21 Pilots. The weirdest name for a song, but I love it. And this little tidbit of information probably will not matter until maybe 10 years down the road, but I have decided to give one of my characters an actual pet cheetah because of this song. Just to honor how much it has helped me. So Pet Cheetah by 21 Pilots. I was telling a friend long time ago, just when this album came out, that my favorite song on the 21 Pilots album, The Trench, was Pet Cheetah. The girl I was talking to was like, "What do you mean? It's just a bop. It's about nothing." And so I was like, no. So I sat her down and I told her why in a way that I was trying not to sound like a know-it-all, but I was just gushing about how helpful this song is, especially to writers. Now, because this is a singer singing this song, obviously, the writer's block in Pet Cheetah really applies more to writing songs, that kind of writer's block, because the pet cheetah in this song is symbolic of the beat, his musical flow. So a lot of this song really targets how hard it is to be able to make up a beat but not be able to make lyrics to go along with it. There's a lot for an author's mindset too, and just how like solitary writing really can be, and just how easy it is just to feel stuck. And I also want to talk about how this song really helped me out of a really dark part of just my author journey. But let's just break down the lyrics really quick. If you want a more in-depth and honestly better video about what this song is about, the pop song Professor made a video like detailing what these lyrics are about, writer's block, and how it applies to the musical format. But again, I'm going to talk about how it really applies to me personally and also just writing books. So the first verse opens up with, "I am on an island, no one to confide. 8 days straight, 8 hours each, and not one line." Pretty obvious right there in that second line. 8 days straight, 8 hours each, and not one line. How many times have we just like stared at our Word document and just saw that blinking cursor judging us? I remember like when I was 13 trying to write my very first book, which I am not writing anymore because it honestly stinks. But I had a bad bout of writer's block. It lasted weeks. And I was like just so tempted just to throw the whole thing away. But eventually I got over it, finished that book, even though I greatly regret it now. But I persevered. That's the important part. But that very first line, "I am on an island, no one to confide." Writing is honestly very solitary. Like, you could have a writer's group, you could have friends writing with you, but it's your thing. Like, no one else can write that book. It's yours. You're the master of it. Its success or its failure is all on you. That is a lot of pressure, and a lot of us can feel that pressure, but it's hard to like really express that to someone. Like, you have no one to confide to, especially if you're like me and you only have one person who likes to write too. You got no one else that can relate to you, kinda. I can feel pressure start to possess my mind. So I'll take this beat I should delete to exercise. So when I was around 20, I had the best writer's high ever. I was working on my current YA project, Project SE, and I had been like sporadically writing in it from like age 18 and up, but it was around age 20. I had about the first 10 chapters of the book, and it was like I had decided to really dedicate to writing that book And like, I was pumping out chapters, man, every day. Like, I was writing so well. I finished the first draft, did the second draft. I even started writing the sequel, and currently that sequel is 80% done. While writing it, I realized that I had some relationship issues in the book that could have been better addressed in that book and also in the first book. So I put off finishing the ending until I had that relationship nailed. But I felt just so good. I was loving that book, I was passionate for it, and I'm honestly still passionate about it. I'm still writing that book right now because I've realized at age like 23, 24, I'm 24 now, but I started this editing process at 23, that I was writing very fast and very quickly, very well, like a pet cheetah. I was writing fast because it wasn't that good. I wasn't planning. Rereading that draft currently, right now, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so much to fix. That's why the editing process is so long right now for me. Also, I had 135,000 words. Way too much. I need to get it around 100K. I would like it even less than 100K if I can. And I'm nearly there. I'm at 110K, so I've gotten rid of a ton of unnecessary stuff. It's like I would just like, back then, I would just like, if it sounded good in my head, I'll just blurt it on the page and not think about how it would affect the world building and stuff like that. If it sounded cool, like a character being able to see their surroundings while they're sleeping, I'd throw it in there. And now think about the science of how can you see your surroundings if you're sleeping? Your eyes are closed. Stuff like that drives me crazy now, and I can't believe that I did. But it was during that time, during that writer's high, where I entered my first writing contest. We had to write a short story under 2,000 words, I think. Actually, 4,000, yeah. Any genre we wanted. So I decided to write like a cop thriller story about these two detectives having to transport this criminal over like county lines or something like that. There's of course a cash prize if you want, a trip to California. It was for Writer's Digest, I think. And also I wanted to be able to have that award on my query letter if I ever finished Project SE and I was ready to send it off to agents, something I could brag about, something that would impress people. So I sent it off, gave them my $50 like admissions fee, and a month later I didn't win, and I was so sure I was going to. And honestly, that short story wasn't good. It's not, because I had yet to discover my own writing style then, and I was basically going through imposter syndrome with some authors I really loved. I was trying to emulate their writing, and it does not mesh with how I currently naturally tell my own stories. But y'all, this flattened me. I was mega discouraged. That just made me question like everything. Am I good at this? Am I meant for this? And at this time I was going through an internship and I was so sad because I was supposed to be doing all this work with them and I was dealing with this and I didn't have anyone to talk to. No one to confide. I mean, I could have talked to someone and been like, oh, I failed this contest, and they would have been like, oh, try again, just do better next time. But does that help? Does it really help? And so I can feel pressure start to possess my mind. Pressure, am I made to write? Or was I just cocky, too sure of myself? And so we transition into the next verse, which is my favorite one, and that's, I can feel pressure start to possess my mind, so I'll take this beat I should delete and exercise. Back then, when I was in that writing high, like, it was not uncommon for me to write 3 chapters in a day, which is honestly amazing when I think back about it, because even though those chapters are bad now, they were very wordy, very descriptive. I tried, but now currently it takes me much longer to write. Like, I'm impressed if I write a page a day, but that's because I'm so nitpicky. I'm a plantser, so I plot. Like, I have a bullet point list of the events I have to get to, but I don't plan like every single nanosecond in between. So as I'm writing, I'm like, okay, so if I write this down, how would this affect choices made later on? Do I need to make a note? Is this really going to be important later? Stuff like that. I second guess myself, and as I write something, I like to reread it and edit it on the fly, because like I said, any little decisions I made in that moment of writing can affect later decisions. But yes, it's taking me longer to write now, but the quality is so much better because now I know who I am as a writer, what I want to see reading, and I'm exercising that. I'm getting better at it because so I'll take this beat I should delete and exercise instead of giving up and not feeling like I was as good or proficient as I was back then when I was cranking out chapters a day. I'm working myself back up to that level, but even at a better level. The verse transitions into the chorus, no, I move slow. Hey, that's me. I want to stop time I'll sit here till I find the problem. Like, I would just sit in front of the computer and just reread, and there'll be something about the line I'm writing that just sounds weird. I'm like, why don't you just sound good in my head? And I'll just sit there and chew on it, exercise it until I finally realize what's up. I want to stop time. I'll sit here till I find the problem. I want to stop time, man. I want all the time in the world to finish this book, but I can't. I cannot stop time. And the only way I'll be able to get to what I want is to keep working at it, get better, exercise it. Don't delete it just because you haven't figured it out yet, but just work it out. We get into the next verse where 21 Pilots, they're describing the pet cheetah. I got a pet cheetah down in my basement. I raised him and bathed him and named him Jason Statham. I don't know why they named the pet cheetah Jason Statham or what this has to do with writing. But anyways, I trained him to make me these beats, and my pet cheetah's quicker in the studio than on his feet. Because 21 Pilots is a lot of rap. So the pet cheetah is, you know, the rap, the beat, the music. The cheetah's faster in the studio, his music studio, than on his feet. But in that verse he says he's raised his pet cheetah, he's bathed him, he's named him. Books are our babies. That's our child. Like, it's literally a bond. And if something goes wrong with that, like any relationship, you just don't throw it away automatically, unless it's like a really bad one, then get the heck out of there. You work it out. I'm gonna get mine and get going. I'm showing my faces in just enough places. That could be a nod to self-publishing. I'm showing my faces in just enough places. Because, you know, when you're self-publishing, you gotta do your own marketing. Show your face in enough places. I'm done with tiptoeing. I'll stay in my room. My house is the one where the vultures are perched on the roof. When I'm writing, I'm alone. Like, no one comes in. Actually, I typically leave the house because it's just like so cramped and I just need room to spread. But I also need to be alone. So I plug in some music, go to a coffee shop, and turn the whole world off. But my house is the one where the vultures are perched on the roof. Like, is your love of writing dying? Because you just can't figure what's going on. Why is it so hard to write right now? Authors are their own greatest critics because we just like nitpick, and we can destroy our own confidence because of our own standards sometimes. It can make him afraid of his music and be scared to death that he could lose it. Sometimes the thoughts of just, would anyone love my book? And the thought of no one out there even giving it a try crushes me. It can make me, like Tyler Joseph, afraid of his own music. I could be afraid of my own writing. Sometimes it's hard for me to write, not because I'm dealing with writer's block, just because it feels so permanent. It feels like a commitment to actually put something down on the paper, and I'm scared of it sometimes. But then that euphoria comes when you're actually writing, when you're orchestrating the symphony, when you're able to put to paper what's in your mind and just build your own world. It is honestly so beautiful. No, I move slow. I want to stop time. I'll sit here till I find the problem. So if we're the slow ones and our pet cheetah, which is fast, is our muse, our love of writing, and it's 1,000 miles ahead of us. The love of writing, the passion for it is not gone. It's your brain's just running off 1,000,000 miles ahead of you. You just don't know what to write yet. Just because you're slow or you feel like you're pressured to not do this, people's reasons for your own reasons. If you really are on an island, then that pet cheetah can only go in a circle and it'll eventually come back to you. Take it slow, exercise it, love it. This is primarily what Pet Cheetah, the song, is all about. And to me, it's one of the best songs out there to properly motivate someone to at least try writing again, because it details very well and relates to what we're all feeling at one point. That we're stuck, that we're alone, too much pressure, the fear of letting people down, especially ourselves. But then it details the love of it, the raising of our book child, and just how nothing's gonna be perfect the first time. You have to exercise it. And all those failures you once had, like with me, they make you better because then you realize exactly not how to write a book, basically. And then the song ends with basically the repetition of the words pet cheetah. Pet cheetah. Cheetah. So catchy. Oh my gosh, I love this song. But you're repeating it, you're building it up, you're exercising it, you're gonna get there eventually. Just don't get up. Don't let Jason Statham the cheetah die. If you're here, I'm assuming you know what AuthorTube is, and you got people who know what it's like to be stuck on an island, no one to confide, 8 days straight, 8 hours each, and not one line. I have been there. I honestly don't know what my closing message is. I just wanted to tell you guys out there that if you're feeling the way I did at one point, like it's not as easy as it once was, there's a song out there that perfectly symbolizes what the heck's going on in your brain. And if you guys know any songs that are just like perfect for your writing vibe, let me know. I have playlist upon playlist, and I shove a bunch of songs in there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Give Pet Cheetah a listen to. Until next time, get the writing. You know you need to.